Wait for it. What cards do we have on the table? Got 3 cards here. And I say fuck it. Used to dance in public all the time and not be scared. And now I walk down the street and I got this little boogie in me. A boogie I want to like spread all around the town just so people loosen up a little bit. And I'm over here like, I used to dance all the time in my 20s. Maybe the 20s were the best. Anyways, got 3 cards on my table here. It's 20. 1. Is it? That's a 21. But 11, 12, 21. It's an illusion. Blackjack, military code. Woo! Cats everywhere. See. I wonder if there is a 416 in any one of these notebooks. And I have, usually whenever I turn to the notebooks or my artwork or something, it's like right after I said a keyword and then I'm like, oh my gosh, how does this keep happening? I doubt it's in this one. But, well, here's that decode about Mary that I was talking about from the past. Mary love. Mary equals love and life. So, that was done on October 5th. This one's newer. 9:30. Usually when I open them up, there's like a keyword sync that led from a previous conversation. Just like that Mary, I was not anticipating coming out here and picking up the notebooks again. We have Bible verses. This one's a newer book, I don't think. This is 11:13 at 16:19. We're talking about wireframing and UX design, like how a designer in UX will set up wireframes as to how the text box and the overall aesthetic is going to look on the page before anything is ever brought to light. This is basically what it looks like. So this is me showing like what a Twitter tweet looks like. You know, you have your profile picture and the name. There's information over here. And so the designer on the back end, before it's coded, starts off here. And then it gets coded, and then it's produced onto the screen as a projection. Can't have any of that without coding. We posted that Trump chicken dance earlier. He says he likes to make deals like he likes to eat good meals. We got the art of the deal here. I don't know. Back then it says we have a disaster called the Big Lie. Had something to do, that was on Valentine's Day. What do we have in this book? I have May 19th, May 15th. Coyote. Here's John 3:18 by Rita Nicole. It's talking about DNA, sign of the 2 times. Let's see the signs of these 2 times. Right before that funky song came on, Sign of the Times came on by Harry Styles on the algo. Just Let It Glow. This is talking about when Elon Musk posted a peculiar tweet one night that says, I am Dan. I am Dan, E-M. Elon Reeve Musk. There's a little decode on that. For some reason, my silly ass did not date it, but I time-stamped it for 1553. Okay, we have 426. That one's talking about Zulu time. 425 is when we went to Lake George and decoded the word duck. We were sitting there and a couple ducks swam by and got the whole duck. Oh, and then we were talking about cards. We had the trump cards with us. 4 cards to get to duck. So shuffle, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 21, 3, and 11. And what it arrived on. Something about a cowboy hat and space cowboys. 410. That was a couple days ago. That one was talking about Q Day. This and that, G and J, talking about the Gregorian and Julian calendar. Sorry, it's really hard to talk with headphones on with music playing in your ears. I don't even know if my voice is getting picked up on this, but this is just a morning lesson. It says, laugh out loud. Coincidence. It is the 23rd. Hee hee. Literal. Keck out loud. Keck equals laugh out loud. That's funny because that song poster earlier had the name Keck in their name. Alright, anyways, it means laugh out loud in Orcish if you've ever played World of Warcraft. Says, do any know what they do, or do they just do it to follow the trends? So earlier when we decoded, we had fa, and went fad. So fad would also be like a trend. Do they know the headbands? So like to me, the headbands are like those bands that just energetically charge our souls and in grace and love and harmony, in unity and justice, and their music isn't filthy. It's not filthy, it's not dirty. The frequency's smooth. And it's like, you can say, what is that one band that you think of when you first think of peace? Or like, so what brings that light, joy, and pureness into your energetic field? So to me, those are called headbands. And I have a thing with wearing headbands. It helps relieve the pressure from migraines on my head because I have TMJ since I was a kid. Used to chew a lot of gum and it tightened up the joints on my jaw and gave me TMJ. So let's see. Since this was only a few days ago, it says Melania knows second Catholic First Lady after Jacqueline Kennedy. 1311 is 111. I wrote down John 4:21 and John 2:14. Q plus M equals 30. And then these are the verses that I had. John 1:24. John the Baptist denies being the Messiah. Now the Pharisees who had been sent. John 1:42. John's disciples followed Jesus, and he brought him to Jesus. Jesus looked at him and said, "You are Simon, son of John. You will be called Cephas," which translated into Peter. John 2:14. We're really on those 14s today, aren't we? Jesus clears the temple courts. In the temple courts, he found people selling cattle, sheep, and doves, and others sitting at tables exchanging money. John 4:12. John talks with a Samaritan woman. "Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, as did also his sons and his livestock?" John 4:21. Women, Jesus replied, "Believe me, a time is coming when you will worship the Father, neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem." All right, so to flip that, since we're like a year later, we can go here. 2:14 now becomes 14:14. That's 5:5. 4:12, we have 16:12, and 4:21, 16:21. And you can take any verse here. So we have 14:14. You can go on to Grok or directly into your Bibles or internet and type in biblical verse 14:14, and then it'll come up with all kinds of options, and whatever that first verse that you receive that resonates, usually it's like the first one that you see. To me, it's like a calling or a message or a truth that wants to be seen in that moment outside of just going to the same thing all the time. Another thing is taking your birthday. So mine is 7/22. Taking your birthday, we'll say in this example 7/22, and typing the same code in and finding all the verses that relate to your number. You can implement your year, so 7/22/86, and you have to do a little math to crunch it, right? So say you have a number in here, 1621, for instance, and there should be results, but say there wasn't results. You can go in and reduce using Tesla vortex math, 1621, so 16 is 7/21. So now you have a new number to work with, 7/21. And if that still doesn't work, or if you want to read and take in a full chapter, you can go after 7/3. You can type in 7/3, and you can keep working with these numbers all the way down. And it always starts in the Bible, right? So first there's God, always, always. And then you're free through the meditation. After reflections, you write it down in your notebook. all the reflections that you had discovered during that time. You can write the verse, the quote, and then the fun part is to go and grab any book, right? So anything that you have nearby. It can even be a children's book. Those are the most fun to work with, even, especially in the lower numbers. So say 421, you can still work with these numbers too if you want to, and go back to back. 4 plus 21 is what, 25? So then you also have 7. So you can open your book. Say that your kids played all night, you guys got all tired out and didn't have time to clean up, and you look down suddenly after this prompt and there's a children's book laying on the floor. I did this, back in 2023, found a Red Panda book just laying on the floor from the night before when I was babysitting those adorable, wonderful kids for their mama. So now you have page 25, but what if there's not 25 pages in that book? You can now reduce that 25 down to a 7 and go to page 7, and you can either take in the whole bit of information and study it just page by page and just soak it in and love and appreciate that moment of what the divine universe is trying to tell you in flow. You can ask yourself a question beforehand and just let it go and let it flow. And perhaps, like, you know, those crossword puzzles where they prompt you to recognize the first words that you see within that crossword puzzle. Take note in your meditations of those first words that pop up on your book study. Those are your keywords, and as you evolve and progress through your day, you're gonna notice those keys popping, and it's just boom, 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 all day long. And so, say page 7. Let us now go use a different tool. Give me one moment. Remember how when Q said you have all the tools? So whatever's nearby, like right here, I have a can of Bang. I can go back here. Let's hope that this is recording my voice. You can go back here and say, one moment, please. I'm not used to full headphones like this. It's an adjustment. So now the letter 7 is embedded into the day, right? Just from counting down, doing the ordinary business. What you could do, and everybody's gonna get a different answer, and that's the uniqueness about it. And it's wonderful, and it's freeing and amazing and incredible. Like, there's nothing to be angry about. There is so much time and opportunity to just get down with the do and the business and work hard at elevating the self to discover your inner worth and potential and know that the strength lies within you. And all it takes is that spark, right? Just like Q said. So let's try something random. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lands on E. So now we have a new letter embedded into the flow. So E, 5. What else did we talk about yesterday? Scrabble tiles. What is the letter E worth in Scrabble? What does the letter E mean in Greek? What does this mean? What does that mean? And kind of just start pulling and connecting the dots, and you're gonna find one thing leads to another. So we started on 7, now we're on 5. So let's count 5 lines down. So from pause to pause. So meaning any kind of pause in the sentence. Commas don't count. So it could be a semicolon, it could be an exclamation mark, it could be a question mark, or a period. So those punctuations that separate the sentences and create a new sentence. Hence, we have new caps at the end or at the beginning of all sentences, or at least there should be. Those are the caps that emphasized letters to pay attention to. So 7 and 5 is 12. Here's the light. That's one paragraph on this is one sentence. So maybe not 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 4 and we can't reduce a 5. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna adjust and we're gonna just go with the flow. So how about 5 lines down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines down says the beverage world. Now, here's the most important part, because apparently when I looked up, the can was the first thing that I saw. So we were talking about tools, and it's all around us in abundance, and we can study really anything that's in front of us. What is the 5th ingredient in a can of Bang? Because you know what? The ingredients that are on the top of the list are what is most, is that the correct word? Remember, I still struggle with word finding sometimes, and coding and doing all this kind of stuff helps me a lot. So whatever is at the top is what ingredient is most flowing into the food or beverage. So then we can look it up and see what the hell this mystery product or ingredient is, and if it's truly healthy for us. I'm gonna assume not. But that's not the ingredient list. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th ingredient in the can is sodium benzoate. In parentheses, it says preservative. So now there's an ingredient to research today and see what the meaning behind that is. It's all capitalized, so an opportunity to do some math and have some fun. Math is always fun. I couldn't agree more myself. Math. Mathematically, we are all possible, and we are here for a reason. And when we come together and we teach, we help each other spark interest. And it's not that anybody's stealing anybody's light, but the more people come together in unity, the more the puzzle can be put together, and people can learn to flow and be harmonious with one another, and realize that everybody brings something special to the table, and everyone's important. So 5, we have 5. E, sodium benzoate. And there is an app called Food Educate, right? And back in the day when I was doing like keto and dieting programs and such, you didn't need a subscription. I don't know if you need a subscription anymore, but basically it has a barcode scanner, and you scan the barcode while you're in the grocery store or even at home, and it'll give you like a rating on the foods that are going into your body. I haven't paid much attention to it as of lately. I'm not rich. I'm comfortable in living situation. I work to pay my bills and eat food, but I'm not being picky in the moment about what I'm putting in my body specifically. Ideally go back to keto. But Food Educate is a good app recommendation, I would say. It'll give you a rating: green, yellow, red. In red, it'll pop up like, no, this is a carcinogen, blah, 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 and it can help educate the food user on what they're putting in their bodies. So I found that useful in the past. Anyways, so now we have another tool, right? Personally, I don't have any books nearby, but I can do something else here. Let's leave it up to chance. Page 7. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're landing on a Squirrel Saturday. I called it a Sunshine Saturday, Saturn Day. KRTW, Keep Ray Tree Whimsical, 11/18/2023 at 9:32 a.m. CST. Talking about, this was when I was teaching myself vocabulary again. Would come up with a letter like E we had, and then I would challenge myself to write down as many positive words that went with that letter as possible, and train my brain that if there were any words that weren't positive, I just dumped them right out. Like, say you got a bucket, right? And you're filling up your bucket with fish, and there's dead fish in your bucket. You don't want those dead fish. You're trying to collect the fish for your fish tank at home or something. I don't know. It's a weird metaphor, but you're gonna dump those dead fish right back where they came from. Or if you're a gardener, I suppose you can take the dead fish and put them in your garden. Apparently they're great for the soil, but me, myself, I prefer dandelions. No fish on any of my food. No. But anyways, so we're writing down as many potential words that go alongside of that letter. There wasn't a timer set, but I could gauge how long it took by when I was posting frequently, the timestamps in between each of the posts. So sometimes a post could take half an hour to type up or write up. Others, simple and sweet, but writing it down, doing the drawings, like this is like the visionary process of what's going on behind the scenes. But I stopped writing in notebooks and just started using my Twitter as my journal. But there's that way. Let's do 7. So your challenge this morning is to think of 7 words. We'll do nouns. Nouns are person, places, or things that have 7 letters in them. 7 letters, 7 letters and 7 options. And you don't need to time yourself. Just maybe even think of months. Start with something simple. There's a game that I used to love to play as a kid. It's called Categories. You get this dice with all kinds of letters and you roll it. And so there's this book of categories. So say like one of the categories is cities. And so the person rolls the dice, a timer's set, and the players have to write down as many possible words with that letter in the given time. And then the person that has the most written down at the end wins that round, or something along that style. Kind of similar, but it's a way to reframe our thoughts and our brain patterns to think of positive words, and also remember like places and things and figures that we may have forgotten by being so busy on the internet all the time. Or maybe there's trauma and things got forgotten along the way, and it's a way to find our way back to ourselves and heal that inner child by playing those sort of games that challenge ourselves, that typically maybe are full team games, but it can be readapted as a sole individual to play it as like a metaphorical virtual sense, which is really, really fun actually. So 7, or was it 5? How about 7 and 5? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are like chakra cards for basically soulful activations. And what I like about these is they have a little tagline on the bottom with a number, so they can be plugged in and decoded on the side if one so chooses to have time to do so. But what do we have? 49, the infinite. 49 is a cool positive number because the word yes literally is the number 49 in simple formatting. We're just gonna keep it simple. While we can go up there in range, there's still people learning the basics. And Q gave us all equal opportunity to know A through Z, and then we just add into it with our plus signs. We'll just keep it simple. So 49 and a positive association with that number means yes, this is your sign. The infinite. I have the tigers on right now. We've been talking about eyes a lot tonight. And we were talking, there was an infinity eye posted not too long ago that was created like 5 months ago. So yeah, confirmation. The signs are all around us. We have infinite, unlimited potential. And these tools, like, be it Pokemon cards, be it a children's book, be it anything you can think of, sticks and stones. Like, maybe you're at the beach and you have all these beautiful stones in front of you and you're just like, I don't want to be greedy. I just want to carry home one stone with me that resonates with my soul, and have it as a souvenir to put on my shelf after my visit to the lake or the beach or whatever. Now you have a number. We now have a number that we brought into action in play this morning. We have number 7. We have number 5. 49 is 13. So we have number 13. 13 can be reduced, but why go there? We don't need to. It's within the alphabetical sequence, 1 through 26. I think it can stay as 13 as itself without breaking it down. Now, if you're looking for Q posts, you don't want to go above a certain number. I realize that, but can always reduce it too. So 49 is yes. We'll go M to that. The funny thing about M is it reduces to D, like mom and dad, or doctor, medicine woman, medicine man, MD. Yeah, that's what I think of at the number 13. So 13 months, 13 days between the Gregorian and Julian calendar. My question is, why do they say we lost 10 days? Like, where did the extra 3 go? Maybe to leap years that are totally unnecessary, and coincidentally, they just happen on election years. So silly. Anyways, 17, awakened awareness. I, infinite potential, infinite opportunities, infinite grace pouring out upon you this morning. And so we have 49 and 17. So MQ. Pretty sure that came up in the notebook recently. What else? What's 49 plus 17? That's your challenge this morning. So there's a new number. The way I would add it is I always would add easily 20 to that 39, 59, and then subtract 3. So 56. We have an 11. So that's fun. So we were talking about 3 earlier. We had protons, neutrons. What's the other one? Electrons. Protons, neutrons, and electrons. So we'll do a 3rd card, except it's going to be a Pokemon card. And it's going to be the 11th card. And I have like all my shiny ones, holographic ones. No, I don't. Well, let's just grab a bunch here, because this box is huge. It's the first time I've ever seen those. All right, they have a different kind of back than the rest, so they're unique in my eyes. This one is always going to pop out to me. It's not very strong in hit points, but Soul Rock. Is the sun your rock? Does it rock you steady? Does it make you steady? What does the sun bring? Truth, awareness, light in the darkness? Was it even dark to begin with? I mean, the clouds can cover the sun and it's still light outside. But it drowns out the darkness, and there's no shadows for demons or wicked to hide. And they pretty much just expose themselves. But anyways, oh, I have 2 more of those. So, these don't need to be shuffled. Dude, this box is full of mysterious Pokemon cards. You just have to take it in clusters, like a star cluster, M31 or something like that, and just shoot them out from the sky, I guess. All right, so we have 11. So we have 7, E, 5. What's the last number? M, 13. And 11. 56 is 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It is Pokemon Phoebus. It is a water Pokemon. Now, what I pay attention to, first thing I saw right away, Ascension and Splash. Make a splash and a grand entrance in your Ascension process. There's no need to hide. We do get busy. Still working, still got bills to pay, still have to be present in 3D, but when we do have time to sit down and enjoy, it feels nice to be back a little bit, you know, to ourselves. That's not just work mode, but play mode. All right, so what do we have here that came out? These are trainer cards. Lost Vacuum. Another Lost Vacuum. Clara. Pick up 2 Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand. Put up to 2 basic energy cards from your disc pile into your hand. And Clarissa's Experiment. And so there is that for today on the Pokemon. And the Pokemon cards were bought for projects. So this is the first project we did with Pokemon cards. And I don't even care if they're holographic or not. I thought it was rather neat that right here we had in the deck that we found in this big box. It was a mystery box. Horsey Kingdra is an evolution of Horsey. So they're water Pokemon. So the vibe was water and also air. Eevee, my absolute favorite basic non-evolved Pokemon that has all kinds of evolutions depending on what stone you feed her. In my deck, my mystery deck, we got Celia, and that's the only Eevee evolution I've found so far. So we did a piece of art and added Pokemon cards to it. So those Pokemon cards have plans for the future, but my mouth is sealed on that. That side community work and stuff that I'm gonna work on when there's time. And it is a priority. It's just a matter of funding. And right now I am totally okay and okay in the flow, like doing what I need to do to make sure my bills are paid. And then eventually saving up extra side money to get art supplies. And I'm not gonna lie, Joann's Fabrics is going out of business. I can't believe I've talked for 44:21. I don't normally talk this much in my life. But it's nice to have and wake up and have an early morning coffee chat or something. Even if it's just being comfortable talking to ourselves and reposting the video. We get over that sense of stage fright I've always had it. So I feel comfortable in my energy and my presence, and I can talk to myself. Don't talk to myself in person or anything like that, but getting comfortable talking about passions to others without feeling a fear. So it's like that song, Wear Your Sunscreen, do something every single day that you fear or that you're afraid of. That whole concept of feel the fear and do it anyways. Art tools. So without the wording, there's something to meditate on. And write down in your notebooks what kind of vibes it produces and how it makes you feel, the colors, the energy, the sense of purpose that it grants you while it's in your awareness. And then look at the wording and implement it all into one journal entry. And you just got to start from somewhere, because in a year, this is more like 4 years. In a year, you'll have timestamps to look back on. 4/14. Here's one from recent or last year. TX was 2024. There's that 44. T. This has something to do with the clock. I know it. I'm obsessed with studying the clock, as it is like in a 24-hour format. But you start somewhere, you start time stamping it, writing it down. You get to open your journals a year later, or maybe even 6 months later, and maybe say you haven't written in your journal for like 80 months. Where you last left off, you get to reread that page and see how far you've come, even through all that busyness, even through all that hustle and bustle and everything you're doing in life. The fact that you're not sitting in your journal every day is evidence that you're progressing and moving forward, not depending on just the introversion piece of it, but you're out there, you're shining in your communities, you're doing your due, and then maybe every so often you get to visit, and you get to visit yourself from the past in your future self, but in your current. I find it so exhilarating and cool that we get to experience life like that, and check back in with ourselves to see even our coding. Like sometimes I'll look back and it's like, well, I don't think this was the original purpose of this code, but then I can go back in and make edits or whatever I need to do. And usually nowadays it's just finding a keyword and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's that easy, it's that simple. It's not complicated. So at random, let's do one more. 43. There's a 7 for you. She of the Lotus. See, like a little waterfall cascading effect. The violet flame. But meditate on the image first. Write down everything that it makes you feel and on impact. And then go back in and study that. You can go in and see like the spiritual meaning of a lotus. You can use your math skills. Maybe even geek out and go to periodic table of elements number 43 and see what element it produces and what sub-element it produces when you do the math, and just keep it flowing, and it's so fun. I am being sincerely authentic about being in flow at all moments. Even if it's working, even if you're doing mundane tasks like doing the dishes or vacuuming, just dance and you vibe and you just know that it's gonna be okay. You just gotta enjoy the process and trust the journey. And if anything, those mundane tasks like I had to do yesterday, like sit in the car shop for an hour and a half, it gave me time to get done side responsibilities like phone calls and such that I was like not really wanting to do because I don't like making phone calls. In the perfect world, we would all just be telepathic and, you know, my mind could be read and be able to communicate that way without having to make a awkward phone call. It's hard as an autistic person to make phone calls sometimes. But got it done. Got taxes done. So all those breaks that weren't really planned, like, I don't want to sit in the car shop. No, I didn't complain about it. I was like, you know what? This is when I'm going to make my phone calls. This is when I'm going to do my taxes. This is the moment because I'm not working. It's a forced slowdown to pay attention to something now in the moment with extra time granted doing something mundane. But there's always an opportunity to figure something out. Outside of X, I've been really challenging myself really hard to not use it as much and use it more as a way to pop in and communicate subtly sometimes. And it's me setting boundaries and disciplining myself. Because there's so many things I want to achieve and accomplish in life, and if I just sit online all day dreaming, nothing can come into fruition and action. So this is an action opportunity moment. Finding myself up to communicate using my voice and not just my texting fingers, which is the easiest way to do it, comfort zone. But feel that fear and do it anyways. And with that said, 52:15, we are out.